Good morning. What's up, all? It's day 19. Thank you for being with us. I'll be quick because I'm not the one you want to see. So we have three of our awesome people going to be showing you what is in the bag and what they do. So you can open it up and see. Amy is going to be breaking down kind of the specifics of what is in it. Tracey's fancy. We're going to kick it over to her. She is going to do some art on the piece. And then Steph is going to do a little repurposing project with what is in there. So three different looks, three different things that you guys can do to kind of decorate your beanie from yesterday, or you can use it to decorate other things. I'm sure you guys are all super crafty. I've been so impressed with what you guys have been posting, which is awesome. So keep that up. And I can't wait to see what you guys do with this.
Ho, 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 Crafty Co. Are you ready for another exciting day? It is day 19, and I'm Amy from Amy Sews, and we are doing something really cool beans today, right? Let's take a look and see what is in number 19. Here we go. Oop, you got a nice piece of vegan leather in here. Nice little drawstring bag. Ooh, we've got some hand sewing tools. That is super exciting. Let's take a peek. Oh, first off, we have, this is really, really nice wax thread. This is like an 8-weight wax thread. It's beautiful for hand work, especially when you're sewing on, leather, cork, that kind of thing that needs a little bit of bulk to it. We've got a nice pair of snips, hand snips. Sorry for the glare. So I guess I'll use my snips to open the snip. I was working with them earlier. They're really nice. Nice little pinch snips, which are super nice with a really nice quality. They feel really nice. And a great set of needles. And I'm going to explain what some of the needles are, right? Some of these needles. These hooked needles are done more for upholstery, where you can't pull the needle up and push the needle down. You need to hook the fabric as you go, like darning socks. It's the same type of needle when you get stitches in the emergency room. They all use a hooked needle because you can't go all the way through and come all the way back. So you got some nice size hook needles. This guy with this little bit of a scoop, there's a little bit of a scoop right here, right, with a big eye. This is a good weaving needle. When you're weaving threads through, maybe in your mending, you have a hole in a sweater, you're going to weave your threads in and out of the grid with this needle, which is really handy to have. And then you have this monster needle on the upholstery side of things. This is, if you have really not very strong fingers, is a difficult needle to use, but there are times if you're mending like the straps in lawn furniture or something along those lines, you have that beast of a needle. And then you have another super big eye in a nice medium weight. So this is a handy needle to have. You'll use this one a good bit. And then you have another size, again, with that big eye to handle this 8-weight thread, right? Which is already waxed. So it's very lovely. It went through the leather like butter. So the other needle, and this is the one that I actually used when I did the stitching. It's very strong, which is what you want. You don't want any bend in this kind of a needle when you're working with sewing on the leather. So when I sewed the leather on the hat, now this leather, you're going to experience this with some other crafters. Yours is going to be embellished at some point or another. I kind of like the organic rusticness of sewing it just with a running stitch. And I'm going to show you how.
Hey, good morning, guys. Thank you, Amy. And we're going to come back to Amy. So now we are going to kick it over to Tracey's fancy.
Hey, y'all. Hello. It's been a few days since I've seen you. I am back today. And do you remember that I said your markers that you received, your paint pens, are good on fabric and leather as well. So I'm going to take you back overhead. We are going to trim this down a little bit so that it fits my winter beanie, and we are going to see what colors look best on this brown leather, and we're going to come up with our own little design. All right, so I've got my beanie here. This is the beanie that you all received, and this is normally where you would find your beanie patch right here. So this patch is a little large, you can see that. So you could either cut this in half and make a larger patch, which I think I'm actually going to cut mine into 4s and make a patch that is about the size of this right here. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that down. And so now you can see that we have 4 pieces here, which is the perfect size to sew on as a patch here. So I have not used these markers, these paint pens on leather yet. So I am going to use one of them as a scrap piece. I do believe I cut one of them a little bit crooked. I think it was that one right there. So let's demonstrate on this together. Let's try this out together and see how they look. I know they're going to paint well on here. I'm just not sure which colors are going to show up the best on the brown. So let's give this a try. I mean, I figure let's go ahead and try some of the brighter colors. We're just going to draw. Wow, that's awesome. That's the blue. Let's try the bold pink. That looks really good. Let's try the lighter pink right next to that and see. Now remember, this is just one coat, so you can imagine if we double down on these, how much better that would look. So that red comes across a little rosy on that. Let's see if we can get this lighter pink to show up. It looks a little white on the brown. Let's see if we can darken up the dark pink here with a couple of coats, and looks like we can. That looks pretty good. So let's try the white. Let's see how the white looks on here. Wow, the white looks really good. Figure we for sure will be using black and white. Black and white is a colors that I use in my branding a lot. Black looks fabulous. Let's try yellow. Wow, yellow looks amazing. I am so impressed so far. I hope you guys are too. That is a lavender. Some of the lighter colors look similar to each other, but if you were to do a couple of coats on them, that was your teal. Let's go for the green. They look pretty similar. All right, this is a real game changer here. Let's try this. Even brown shows up on the brown. And the last one to try will be this sort of peachy orange color. So let me lift this up so that you can see these colors and how great they look on this fabric. And now let's just throw together a real quick little design patch for my hat. All right, out of these colors, I really want to use the black, the white, and I think I want to go ahead and go with this pink, maybe the light pink as well. So I think my heart is wanting to write out the word fancy because my business name is Tracey's Fancy. So I think I'm just going to do F-A-N-C-Y. We'll leave some outside edge to do our stitching on. And we are going to just freehand this. So I'm going to lay this down sideways. We'll thicken these letters as we go, but I'm going to take up all of the space. I'm going to make them tall and narrow. So F, A, N right in the middle, tall and skinny, tall and skinny C, and then Y, also tall and skinny. Okay, so it's dry. We're coming back in for our second coat, which you'll see what a big difference that makes. Again, laying it down. The brush marker is just so easy to use, and I cannot believe how well it shows up on this fabric. Now, if I were painting, I do a lot of denim work, a lot of denim jeans, denim jackets, overalls. If I were doing those, I would probably lay down a base coat of white paint. I like to use like a chalk mineral paint as my base coat, let's say on the back of the jacket, and then I would use my paint markers to do my artwork on top of that white base coat. Just a suggestion. So now we're just really coming in. Notice how the first layer is sort of like a base coat, and we're just coloring back in. You could use the very point if you want to, because you've already laid down your base coat with the fat brush. It's totally up to you, but every layer will get brighter and become more pink than that first layer. So you definitely want to build when you're working on fabric. So if sewing's not your thing and you got these patches, you can just do whatever artwork you want. And then just sew this to your head. I'm going to come in with some outline work here in just a minute. All right, so this is looking really good. I've done 3 coats of the bright pink. Here we've got all the colors with 1 coat, and this is 3 coats. It looks really good. So now I'm going to come in with my black paint pen. Remember, you don't have to shake these. You don't have to pounce to press to prime them. They are ready to go. The black shows up on this really well. And when I'm doing detail work, I have trouble talking. But I am just outlining each letter. Okay, went outside the line there, no big deal. I'm just going to fatten that up. No one's looking for perfection here in the paint world, that's for sure. We always say it's just paint. And honestly, I would prefer something look. I really like the hand-painted, handmade look. I like the imperfections, just embrace them. I encourage you to break these pins out and give them a try. All right, the last little touch that I'm going to do is I'm going to add sort of a back shadow or make them look like blocks. So I'm going to start with the point of each one and take it out to the edge just like this. Same thing with this. Keeping that same angle for each letter. So I think I'm going to color in the base underneath. And I honestly don't know how much I'm going to like this, but it was just an idea, so I think I'm going to go for it. Wow, the white is really nice on here. Yeah, I really like that you can see the leather grain through the white paint. So I've got that brush. I'm going to see how that works to smooth this out when I'm done. It's kind of like snow on my little beanie cap. So let's see how this goes. See, you can actually like still use the paint with your brush. That's pretty cool. Found a new use. Wow. I like that. Looks like a snowdrift. Sometimes you just follow your instinct. I think that looks pretty good. So let's put it on our hat and see what we think. Here's my little beanie. I would stitch this on, and I think that looks pretty cute. Pretty cute, y'all. So enjoy. I can't wait to see what you come up with.
Get back to Amy. She'll give us more details on how to sew this on with the running stitch. See you.
So we're going to just pull off a piece of thread that threads through the eye beautifully. It's very easy to, I'm just going to grab it. And this is not, in licking thread is not the cool thing to do because thread absorbs the moisture and then you end up with a swollen piece of thread. So you're going to give yourself a good like 25-inch piece. And what I don't want you to do is make it so long that it's awkward to work with. Now with this, because of the knit in the leather. This is not how I would do a traditional sewing knot, right? I'm just going to knot this because it's going to get buried in the bulk of that knit, which is really nice. You're going to take your patch, and I cut a 2x3. I'll do it this way so you can see the contrast. A 2x3 piece of material, right? And I think with some of the other creators, you have made pretty cool decoration, or decorated the leather in a very cool way. So mine is just plain because I'm not cool. I didn't get mine decorated. So let's talk about spacing a little bit. There's a couple things you can do. I just have some masking tape. You can do two things. You can just lay it on your table, and you can take a ruler and you can mark off every probably 4 millimeters the most, 3 millimeters. If you stink at eyeballing things, right, you can just put these little marks. Now you're going to use a ruler and mark it nice. I'm just kind of rolling through here, right? And now this can be placed right on your leather piece. So when you go to place this on your hat, you're going to see your marks and know when to do your in and outs. Now we're just doing a running stitch. So I'm going to start from behind. You're going to place this. My hat's apparently going to have two patches. We're just going to place this. Now you're going to want to come in and lay your tape even across here, right? You can see I didn't pull an even piece of tape, but if you lay your tape so it's level to the edge, an even 1/4 inch away, things will be a little easier. So you're just going to come in from behind. Now this works really well. And what you have to do is kind of give it a little wiggle to get it started, right? And this knot, you'll be able to pop this knot through the back when you're done. I wouldn't do it now, but you'll be able to bury it. See, just by tugging it, it's going to sink itself in there. So now we're just going to go over and under, and do a running stitch. And what's nice about that tape is the fact that that tape keeps my spacing even. And you're just going to be on the same horizontal, the same, and across the same. In and out, just like that, following your tape. And you can space this as far as you want. Now, if you're getting resistance pushing through the hat, what I don't want you to do is push where we break a yarn. So I'm just going to gently kind of give it a wiggle until I find an opening in the yarn. If you push it through, you could break the knit, and then your hat's going to start to unravel. So that is how easy that is. You're just going to use that tape as a spacer to go all the way around. It's just behind, down the front, behind, down the front, and you're going to take your time because you want this to be even. Now, if you want to be fancy, and you can see I got some of my knit there, so I'm going to back up my needle a little bit and gently pull that through. Right, so that's just a nice simple running stitch. I kind of like the way that looks. It looks kind of organic when you put it on there. And the key is for it to kind of look homemade, right? You don't want it to be so perfect. You could also do kind of a whip stitch where you come under, you go over the patch, you're going to go over the edge of the raw edge of the patch, right next to it. You're going to come back under the other side, give it a little wiggle, and you're going to roll it over to the edge of your patch. So you can either sew it in a running stitch, or you can do a whip stitch where everything's vertical. It all comes down to personal preference, right? So how exciting is 19? You're going, oh, I don't want to sew. Then get out your glue. But you've got these snips alone are amazing. That needle set, I always travel with some repair needles, and some thread. This wax thread is very high quality. The same thing they use when they make expensive leather bags. You have your needle assortment, these beautiful gripper snips, and a nice piece of leather. You can cut it any shape. If you're going to put this, now I'm a scan and cut person. I put this shiny side down on my mat. I can use a little bit of painter's tape to hold it in place. I use my deep cut blade, and you can cut this into any shape, right? Or if you don't want to sew it all, then what you're going to do is just take the two ends, two little rivets, hold it in place, and it's going to be beautiful. I can't wait to see what you guys do when they're all decorated and sewn on. So make sure you post a picture. All right, everybody, have a terrific day 19, and stay crafty.
Thank you, Amy. All right, we're going to kick it over to Steph. Bye.
Happy day 19. And I'm going to tell you, I had a little something else planned for today, but an error kind of happened. And I was like, this would be a good way to show how to kind of save something. So welcome to day 19. When you've bought beanies, you've noticed that it has a little tag on it a lot of times. And it'll have a brand, or it'll say Carhartt, or it'll say, initial things on it. So guess what? That's what you can do with this. So I've taken this and I've cut it in 4 pieces. And then I'm going to fold it over so that it goes on my beanie. So this is one of our snowflakes. And look, I got this caught onto something. And let me change views so you can see. And I'm going to show you what happened to this, because it made me a little bit sad. But then I was like, oh, this will be great. So see, it's folded and it got stuck. So some stones went missing, and then they're scattered everywhere. So look, now it's not even a perfect snowflake anymore. But it's going to be. It's going to be. First, let's just take our scissors and kind of cut. I'm going to cut around some of this extra. And I'm even going to probably keep some of this, because you never know what I might do with it, right? So I'm just cutting around, and then we'll get closer to it. And there's where it was all messed up and stones are missing. And then I'll kind of make a decision once I get here. So there. There. I'm going to knock away some of those stones that don't match and just have the cute star, because I think that's all I need. I had to look at it first to make a decision. So I can either use my scissors and cut it away, or I could pull them off. I'm going to do a little bit of both. So I'm going to remove parts of this with scissors, and then I'll pull off parts of it. Sorry, I wasn't in view there for a second. Then I'm going to pull parts of it off with my finger. Like that stone right there doesn't belong. That one to the side doesn't belong. That one that's flipping around right here, that doesn't belong. And the stem right here, those don't belong. So I'm going to pull those off and pull those off. Yeah. There, I have a star. Now I'm going to press that star into, and then I'm going to change the position of it, because I took part of that bottom off to fall down here, because I wanted it to be here. And that's how it's going to go on the hat. And then I'll do. So I'm going to press this. I have heat press on. So let's press it on so that you can see how to fix that happy mistake. So let me change back over. And let's look at. So I have the heat press on. heat press is set for 350 degrees for 15 seconds. So I'm going to clean up all the rhinestones that just went flying when I was cutting them and toss those, move that out of the way. And then we'll go over to the heat press and fix my cute little happy mistake. So I'm going to put a protective cover over it, and we're going to press, and that way you can see, and then I will find the hat and we will, I'll sew it on and show you what it looks like when I get done. But that way you could see how, that's just another way. So for me, like I might would embroider on this. I would use HTV on this. Lots of different things. And like I said, it's something different for a lot of us. But look, I gave it some bling, some mega bling. So hold tight. I'll be right back. I'm going to go find the beanie, throw some stitches on it so that you can see that final project. So I'll be right back. Okay, so found the hat, ran downstairs, and you can see I stitched it on. I'm going to change views just so you can kind of see those stitches. It was just a simple sewing machine straight stitch right across, but I'll show it to you. And then you can see the final. So there's those rhinestones. I did one. I didn't get my placement just right, so I grabbed another and did that one. And you can see it's just a single straight stitch that goes through there. So rhinestones, leather. I have bougied up that beanie, and that way you can see it. Maybe pop the top off, and that way you can see it. But I bougied it up and gave you an idea, I hope. And I hope you have a great rest of day 19. Bye, gang.